Hi everybody, my name's David Mark, and this little guy right here is Prem. And look at him, he is so sleepy. He's gonna lay down right there on the keyboard. Alright, you go down, you take a nap. I'll talk more about him later. Instead of meet the teacher's night, here it's watch the video night. For your students taking AP statistics, this is gonna be a very interesting year. I've got everything ready to go as if this were a normal year. Who am I kidding? We've got a very good textbook, and it has a terrific online component to it. So at the start of the year, all of their assignments are going to be done online. They're not really easy. Just about I give them 10, maybe 15 problems, but every single one of them has subsections A through J. So so far it's working well. And one of the big things with that is that they get instant feedback. As they're going through, they're not quite sure. There are all kinds of resources online available for them also. They can watch videos. They can look at example problems similar to what the one that they're working on. I usually will take a look at their homework score, basically just to give them a completion grade. I don't expect them to get every single problem right the very first time through. Usually then when they come in next class, we always start with prayer, and then the next half an hour or so, I usually budget time for them to ask questions. And again, they're usually really good with using OneNote and their snipping tool, and they'll take a picture of, okay, I didn't quite understand what they were talking about with this section here. And I always want to give them the chance to ask as many questions as they want before we move on to the new material, or even before I assess them. So, I mean, I could go through and present the perfect lesson and give them terrific examples, and they walk out thinking, yeah, I know how to do this. And then they sit down, I don't know, later that day, the next day to do their assignment. And sure, the first 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, those are pretty easy. And then they run into something where, I'm not sure how to do this. I want them to have an opportunity to get some feedback from me. Okay, again, there are resources available with the online component from the publisher, but I also want them to be able to interact with me. So again, we take a good portion of class there just for them to ask questions and get some clarification before we move on. And speaking of moving on, wow, we have to move quickly. My hope is that we can get through the vast majority of the content by the end of March, and then spend some of our time there in April, maybe looking at the previous versions of the AP Stats tests. I'm going to be assessing them, and we'll usually take a quiz every. The way the book is set up, it's not like the algebra one. So that one topic they call an entire chapter. So we'll take a quiz after every 2 or 3 chapters, and then we'll take a test at the end of every unit, which is usually somewhere around 4 or 5 chapters all put together. And I'm going to be testing them. I'm going to be quizzing them using the same formats that they'll see on the AP Stats test. So some of it's going to be multiple choice, and some of it is going to be free response questions. And I say that now, and back in May, wrapping up last school year, when the College Board decided to do the AP, all of the AP testing online, everything that I had told the students that they were going to see on the AP test went out the window. And instead of 40 multiple choice questions and 6 of these free response questions, they had 2. So I have no idea what's going to come, what's going to become of this by May of this coming year. but I'm going to try and get them through as much of the curriculum as we can. I'm going to try and get them as best prepared. Now, beyond just the AP test, I think a lot of the students have signed up because they're anticipating for the college major they're looking into. They're going to have to take some statistics in college, hopefully next year, and they'll have a very solid foundation of hypothesis testing and confidence intervals and all kinds of lovely stuff like that. But there is still going to be test prep. So hopefully they can do their best on that. I had several students last year. It was the first year that we've offered it here at Fenwick, first time that I've ever taught this. And we had several kids who got 4s on the AP exam, and I was very happy with that, and I'm hoping for some of those, if not all of those kids, that's going to translate into some college credit. And if this is your first time with your child taking a class from me, you might not be aware of the whole service dog thing. I don't own Prem. He's owned by an organization called Four Paws for Ability. They breed, raise, and train service dogs specifically for kids. So my job with the little guy there is to do some basic training, like he will obey the command to sit, and he will give me a high five and those basic things. But a lot of what they ask me to do is socialization. He's going to be paired up, hopefully, with a kid who has a disability in the end, and he's going to go with that kid everywhere the kid goes. So we take him to church on the weekends, and I've taken him to the home improvement store. My wife's taken him to Kroger. Everywhere we go, he comes with us, so he gets used to being out in public, but still listening to and obeying those commands that we give him. And to me, it seemed like an easy fit to bring him to school also. He's the third service dog that I've done this with. The first one got paired up. He passed his training. He's a certified service dog. He's paired up with a boy who has autism and epilepsy and lives in Massachusetts. Our second one, who was around last year, Quill, he's in advanced training right now. So, fingers crossed in a few months he will get certified, and he'll get paired up with kid and go off to do his work. So little Prem here, yes, it's an unusual name. He was born on Valentine's Day, so naturally that was the theme of the litter. He has a sister named Valentina, for example, but there were like 10, 11 of these dogs here, and I think they really had to dig down deep for this. Prem is a word in Sanskrit that means love. Okay, yeah, born on Valentine's Day, now it makes sense. He's only about 6 months old. He weighs about 50 pounds. He's a cross between a golden retriever and a Labrador retriever. So he's got some growing to do, and he's got some learning to do, and hopefully he can do a lot of that there at Fenwick and get used to being around your kids, and hopefully we can all have a good school year together. Thanks for watching.